Hey friends, welcome back to Limitless TV. Did you know that banks are the worst place to put your money? Hey friends, Stephen Michael Miller here. I want to answer the question, why are banks the worst place to put your money? Well, let's just talk about this. Every time you go to put your money somewhere, what are you actually looking for? The reality for all of us is when we have earned that dollar, when we have put our time, our effort, our ingenuity into earning that dollar, we also want that dollar to go to work for us. So what we're really looking for at the end of the day is a really good return on investment, or what we call an ROI. We talk about this often when we're going into real estate. We're talking about the types of ROIs that you can look for. When people put their money into other types of funds, be it a real estate investment trust, or maybe they're putting their money into a hedge fund or something like that, or maybe they're just putting their money into something else. When we talk about that, what they're really looking for is a proper return on investment. So let's talk about that. What is a proper or a really good return on your investment? Well, if you believe that putting your money in a bank is going to get you a good or a decent ROI, we have to define that. Most banks are going to pay you out maybe 1%, maybe at tops a couple of percent. But most banks, in your savings accounts, in your checking accounts, and even in your money market accounts, are probably going to pay you a little bit less. Well, money markets are a little bit more, but in your checking and savings accounts, you're going to see probably a fraction of a percent. And a fraction of a percent is not something that's ever going to amass true wealth for you. Even when we start to talk about compound interest, and especially when we start to talk about compound interest, having just a fraction of a percentage is never going to get you to accomplishing your financial goals. So let's just talk about this for a moment. Let's think about this. Why don't you want to put your money in a bank? Why is it the worst place to put your money? Because they're taking your hard-earned money and they're giving you a pittance for it. There are hundreds, there are probably thousands of better investments than putting your money in a bank. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about real estate. Well, we know with the real estate that Kris and I have been doing for the last decade or more, we have found out very simple processes and ways to actually help you earn double digits on your money. Anywhere from a 10% return on up to a 25% return. And I'm talking about not just your overall return on investment, but even sometimes your cash on cash return. See, a cash on cash return is something that you don't even talk about when talking about putting your money with the bank, because they're giving you such a little tiny small percentage that even with a lot of money that you may have in an account, it's going to be a small return. It's going to be not something that you're going to want to write home about, right? So we typically don't even talk about a cash on cash return in the banking world because it's so minuscule that it's kind of laughable to even talk about. But with real estate, you can talk about it. Cash on cash return, that means you cash in compared to the cash that you get back out in terms of a cash flow after all expenses are paid, right? So oftentimes with cash on cash return, we're able to help people get anywhere from a 7 or 8% cash on cash return up to a 13 or 14% just cash on cash return. And then when you put other things into it, like appreciation in the marketplace or increased rentals or different things like that, or even tax savings, you start to get, you can get into the realm of 15 to 25% overall ROI in real estate. So why would you ever put your money with a bank with a very minimal to almost no cash on cash return and a very small overall ROI when you could put it in real estate? Well, what else can you put your money in? You can put your money in stocks. And stocks are something I know a lot of individuals who make great money in stocks. I have a friend who's been doing it for a long, long time, and it's funny because it's not funny, it's awesome. I love it. She'll jump on and shoot me a text, or every time I see her, she'll talk about what she's been doing in her stocks. And oftentimes she says to me, Stephen, I just made, $3,000 today, or I just made $4,000 today, or I just made $10,000 today. And it's fun to hear that and listen to that. And those numbers are oftentimes synonymous with double-digit returns, higher returns, definitely more than a fraction of a percent return. And so again, if you had a system like that, or you could do what my friend does, would it make more sense to put your money into stocks or the bank? Well, absolutely stocks. Let's talk about the thing that's a big buzz right now. Let's talk about cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies, can you lose your money in cryptocurrency? And by the way, can you lose your money in a bank? Can you lose your money in real estate? Can you lose your money in stocks? Yeah, you can lose your money in every type of investment. No matter what it is, there is a risk associated with it, with all of them. So I just want to put that out as a disclaimer. But with a bank, you know for a fact that if you're not losing all of your money, you're gaining little to none, right? You're gaining almost nothing putting in the bank. With all these other ones, although you have some risk associated with it and probably a little bit more risk than putting it with a bank, you're also, your possibilities of return are also so much higher. Cryptocurrencies is one of those that it can offer a much higher return if you're doing it the right way. Bitcoin started at 1 penny. Bitcoin is the largest cryptocurrency out there right now. It's actually the 6th largest currency period in the world. And Bitcoin, when it started off, was valuated at 1 penny. If you would have put your money in the bank, let's say you had $1,000 and you put it in the bank, that $1,000 may return you a fraction of a percent. But if you had that $1,000 and 9 years ago you were to put that in Bitcoin, just try to calculate for a moment what that would have done for you. Today, right now, it's worth, instead of 1 penny a coin, it's worth $8,500 or so a coin right now. So that's what is that? That's an $8,500 times 100% return, whatever that is. I don't have a calculator on me right now, and I can't do the math in my head. That's a crazy, crazy return. That $1,000 would have made you a multi-billionaire, and probably even more, maybe even into the trillions. I haven't done the math right now. Point is your money going to work for you in that cryptocurrency would have done way more than your money being put in the bank. Let's talk about a business. If you're doing what you're passionate about and you take your money and you put it into your business, something that you're working hard, you're getting after, you're creating with it, that money will potentially do way more for you than it would if you just sat it in the bank. Here's the point. The banks have never been meant to make money for you. As a matter of fact, the bank is one of the worst places that you can put your money. It's okay for a temporary holding spot. For those of you that say, hey, I don't want to unplug from the world necessarily, I don't want to go off the grid and everything, the bank is a great place. It's a great holder for a short amount of time, as long as you are appropriately putting it into different buckets that are going to create and produce more for you. Don't allow the bank to be a long-term permanent solution for you. Find other investments and other solutions that will treat you better and that will pay you more, because right now the bank is one of the worst paying buckets that you could ever put your money into. So is the bank going to pay you? Is the bank a good place to put your money? I'm going to tell you flat out, no. Don't use a bank as a primary bucket to hold your money for any period of time. All right, now you've got some options outside of just the banking system. Start using some of those options. And if you'd like to learn more about Kris and I and our team and how we can help you, then go ahead and click on some of the links in the description below. Subscribe to the channel. We'd love to do more and more and more with you guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you tomorrow.